This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend. That is Manny Navarro. How you feeling, man? You feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, man. Thankfully, I didn't catch COVID. I was worried that I had gone out to watch a Monday Night Football game, the Dolphins Saints game last week or the week before, and my buddy ended up testing positive, and I said, "Oh man, this is all I need." But I never got sick, so I quarantined for a couple days, and I made it out all right.
All right. So, did you test yourself?
I did. I went and got tested, did a couple of in-home tests. They tell you you're not really supposed to test till 4 to 6 days after you're exposed. I have both shots. I have the booster. Thankfully, it looks like I dodged the bullet. But my kids just went back to school this week, and they're already telling me about teachers catching COVID and being
Sure,
ruled
dude.
out. And it's just it's one of those deals.
It's the inevitable that we're all going to get this one. It looks like it because this
Yep.
one is, it looks like it's spreading like wildfire. This one spreads like the flu, actually.
Yeah.
It's,
It
and
really does.
if you're boosted or you're immune, or at least you have your shots, at least it won't. It looks like it's not that bad overall. You know what I mean? Obviously, every DNA is different, so you never know. But crazy stuff. All right, man. Let's get to the Canes. We've been talking about, hey, when's the coaching staff? The coaching staff. Well, it looks like it's finally coming together, man. Talk to us a little bit about some of the changes.
Yeah, well, all the announcements as far as what I've been seeing as far as the coaches who were getting jobs weeks ago. Alex Mirabal, they finally announced it yesterday. The offensive line coach and assistant head coach. Brian McClendon, the receivers coach, co-offensive coordinator. And then Aaron Feld, the strength coach. They've still yet to announce Joe Salovea, the defensive line coach. I know there was some reports out there about Mastro, the running backs coach from Oregon, coming over here too. I had heard a couple weeks ago that it was iffy because he had a sick family member, and it was a situation that was more about family for him. So he didn't end up coming, even though it was reported by some outlets that he was coming. So, I was told Wednesday and again today by different people on staff that I've spoken with that they expect the rest of the coaching staff to be finished out by this weekend.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. And is that because some of them are still working or something, or what's the deal?
I think without question, look, the NFL season wraps up this weekend. There's some guys I think with NFL interest. Clint Hurd is a name that former Hurricane and a guy who was on staff here that's with the Seahawks is a name that I've been told in the past as potential DC. Glenn Schumann's coaching Georgia. He's a co-defensive coordinator over there. He's a guy from the get-go that I was told Mario liked a whole lot. So, as far as defensive coordinators, those are two of the names that I'd heard. Both of those guys' seasons should be wrapping up shortly. I think yes, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Mario is exhausting every possible second. And again, there's no reason to rush. They're not hosting guys on official visits till January 14th and 15th, till next weekend. So you have the rest of this week and the beginning of next week that you can wait to get these things done and let those guys finish out their seasons and before you make any announcements.
So when's the first story on the dude with the mustache coming? Because obviously, you got to do a story just on the mustache for the strength and conditioning guy, because that's just glorious. That's got to take at least an hour just to prepare.
It does. And I had Andy Staples, who works with me at The Athletic. Andy, of course, is one of the best writers in college football. He actually went and worked out with Aaron Feld at Oregon. We have it up on my podcast, the Wide Right podcast. And he's sort of talking about it. But this is a guy who is cutting edge. His whole thing is about explosiveness and making guys explosive, even linemen. And Andy played at Florida. He was a walk-on offensive lineman at Florida. And he went and he did a workout with him where he was basically using these elastic bands and, carrying these weights on his shoulder and trying to jump up, and just trying to increase his explosiveness. So, he's going to use some unique cutting edge techniques. This isn't an old school guy who's just sitting there saying, hey, we got to lift weights and be big and burly. You know, I had a conversation with Alex Mirabal, Miami's new offensive line coach, this morning, and we talked about how, you know, what matters to him is athleticism. They don't want big burly off, you know, it is, yes, Alabama has huge dudes, right? Like Cristobal recruited a bunch of huge dudes. Oregon had some good dudes on the offensive line as well, but to them, it's about athleticism, right? And, you know, people don't realize, and you probably do, because you've known Mario for years, but Mario was big into jiu-jitsu. Like him in martial arts, like to them, it's like when they look at a lineman, they don't look at it like I need a 350-pound guy. It's more about the way that they get themselves off the floor, the athleticism, the way that they carry themselves down to down to down. So I think, you know, Aaron Feld is going to build football players with much more about athleticism and explosion than weight and size.
All right. Is he the guy that, like, you know, is he considered like one of the ultimate badasses in all of this, or what?
Well, yeah. I mean, first of all, the mustache alone makes him a badass, right? I mean, everybody sees that and they are automatically impressed. According to Andy, you know, he started growing the mustache. His wife didn't like it, so that's why he kept it, just to bother her and annoy her. So, and you know, it's his signature thing. And you know, one thing about Aaron is, he builds his own sort of, or he did this at Oregon when he first got there, was build sort of his own contraptions for stuff, you know, like stuff that, you know, most of these guys could order equipment from wherever. He's the kind of guy who goes to Home Depot and buys wood and buys all kinds of stuff and like custom makes some of the machines that he will use to train his guys. That's how into it he is. And so I'd love to do that with Aaron. I'd love to go to Home Depot with him one day and see what he does in building these contraptions and, you know, kind of get
I want him to film the morning he prepares his mustache. That's what's got to be on film. I got to see him preparing that mustache. I mean,
we'll ask him. We'll ask him if we can get that done. We'll see if we can get that on film somehow.
Yeah, dude, that's really what it's all about. And did he ever talk to Raleigh Fingers about it? You know what I'm saying? I mean, did he? I mean,
who did he study? Who did he study? Right? Yeah. Like who?
Is he part of a barbershop quartet? You know, these are the questions.
Those are the pressing questions.
Inquiring minds want to know. You know what I'm saying? You know, absolutely, man. A few bars there, Aaron, please. You know.
Yeah, I've grown out a beard before, but never to that length. A mustache to where it's curling out and shapely and all that kind of stuff, like an evil genius. But he looks like an evil genius with that thing, man. What can I tell you?
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's again glorious to be able to do that and to have the discipline to do that every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because think about it. There's no way he wakes up in the morning and that thing's all like, you know, all over the place. No wonder his wife hates it. Like when she wakes up, she looks at him and, what's that porcupine in your face? You know what I mean? You know, that's the other picture we need. All right. So how's it look when you wake up in the morning and that thing's like this? You know, it's like,
I'm gonna jot all these down for questions for Aaron when we finally get a chance to talk to him.
Yes. Because I don't know how many people have gone in depth to find out about all of that, because you know it's like, does it get in your way when you're sleeping? Do you accidentally sniff your entire mustache up your nostril?
Right.
You know, all these kind of things. You know, does it get in the way of you eating? You know, right. How do you brush your teeth? I mean, you know, do you have like thing like rolling down your mustache while you're brushing your teeth and there's foam going down? You know, now we can get gross. You know what I'm saying? These are things that I want to know, that while you're carrying that thing around, that's got to get in the way of something.
Yeah, I'm sure it does for him. But hey, listen, it's never stopped him from doing his job the right way. I've yet to hear.
And I don't want to get personal in the bedroom with the wife. You know, just
maybe he says she doesn't like it, but maybe she really does like it. Who knows? I don't know.
But
it's a good mystery.
You're washing it extra after food and sex and all kinds, because that thing's got to last in there, smell and
right.
Just saying, there's, you know, the mind goes in many directions here when we're talking about that mustache right now. Okay, so you say recruiting, as we digress here. Recruiting it doesn't start again till next week. Are we hearing of any, you know, because he's already done some thievery, right?
Yeah. There's
already stolen some kids. So
there's gonna be some more thievery, I think, this weekend with the All-American game. There's some guys that are going to be announcing: Cyrus Moss, a defensive lineman out of Las Vegas, Bishop Gorman, and Kevin Coleman, a receiver out of St. Louis, St. Mary's. Both of them are top 100 recruits. Both of them are guys that Miami feels really good about going into this weekend. I think, if I were to handicap it, I would say I think Kevin Coleman is probably 90% there with coming to Miami. I would say Cyrus Moss is probably closer to 50-50 if you want to handicap it.
All right. Is the old lineman leaving finally for UM? Is he going to the draft or not, Zion?
Still don't have an answer on Zion. Mirabal still doesn't have an answer on Zion.
What's your gut tell you?
My gut tells me he comes back because I think, he's not a bona fide first or second round pick. Like, nobody's talking about him that way. So I think the kid is smart. His mother's smart. She's big on school. She wants him to graduate. Yes, it'd be great for the family to have that NFL money, but I think, the kid could probably benefit from one more year at Miami. And look, Mirabal and Cristobal are two of the best in the business as far as offensive line coaches are concerned. So
his value will get up. Yeah.
Yeah, he could be a first or second rounder with a really good senior season at Miami.
How excited should we start getting about the upcoming season in a way? What would you tell fans? I know it's not your job to tell people how excited they should be, but how much can they realistically improve? Can Mario do in this offseason to get to next year? What's the realistic stage you think that they should reach? At least win the Coastal?
Yeah, I think that's more than fair. I think winning the division is more than fair. I think, to me, it all comes down to the defensive side of the ball because I feel like offensively they're going to be very, very good. I think the offensive line is going to be better. You have the majority of that offensive line coming back.
Better coaches.
More of an emphasis on the running game. You're going to have a healthy running game with Don Chaney coming back. I just think offensively they should be stellar. Defensively, it's the pass rush. Can you get those pass rushers? Losing Jalen Phillips and Gregory Rousseau, having those two guys in 2 previous years, you could see the drop off in the defensive performance and
Roche.
Right. You give up 4th and 14 at Florida State because you don't have a pass rusher who gets there. If you have Jalen Phillips or Gregory Rousseau playing in that game, you beat Florida State. You beat them. I'm sorry, you don't give up 4th and 14 there.
Just keep twisting that knife in my heart.
I'm sorry, brother, but it's the truth. And you know what, though?
It's gotta be like Notre Dame, right? 3rd and 44.
Right. I wrote this in my story today. I did a Sunshine State 7 ranking for the final year, kind of a recap and a look ahead for all 7 in-state teams. If Miami stops Florida State there, Manny Diaz is probably still the coach. They would have won their last 6 games.
Maybe. Wow.
So
we had to go through hell to get to heaven. Okay.
Yeah. I got to ask Rudy Fernandez that question, by the way. I got to ask him that question. I don't know that he'll answer it, but we'll see.
Yeah, you know what? In a way, I kind of feel after my 12-10 and onside experience, I had to go through hell to get to heaven too. Also,
yes, you did. You did.
I can relate to all of that, my brother. I can relate to all of that. All right. Anything else that I'm forgetting that Canes fans need to know about this week that's already happened?
Hey, hell of a job by the basketball team, man. 12-3, eight in a row. Larinaga and those guys deserve a little bit of love, right? I mean,
they deserve a lot of. It's an even level playing field nowadays. It's not like college teams are loaded with stars, and it's college basketball is a lot. That the reason why it doesn't entice me that much anymore.
Right? It's not the same quality.
I felt so bad the other night. We were at Larry Little's Hall of Fame dinner, and we broadcasted from it. Okay. And Leslie Visser, she comes on, and she's just an angel, and she's super talented and obviously a legend in our business. And she tells me, I just was covering college basketball. Does it, do you enjoy it? And I had to kill the vibe completely. I'm like, no, after you lived, Alonzo Mourning and Patrick Ewing and Michael Jordan and all these kind of guys, and they played 3-4 years. This college basketball does nothing for me anymore. And that's my only problem about it. I know Larrañaga's a great coach, so I'm not surprised there. The good thing for Larrañaga is that he might have a better chance at actually making a deeper impact in the tournament nowadays because nobody's loaded with stars anymore. So it's up to great coaching, and he definitely is.
Yeah, and picking up that Charlie Moore kid, who's like a 60-year player. He's been at 4 different colleges. That helps guys like him, right? I mean, the honest to God truth, man, is like a lot of these kids that enter the draft, they should just stay in school, bro. Like, I mean, how many of them honestly make an impact every year? Like, just stay in school.
0 to none.
Yeah.
0 to none. Yeah, and that guy's like damn, what's his name? The kid that Stephen Blake. Stephen Blake was the first free agent in high school. A Killian kid that went to Miami Lakes, who then went to Miami High, and then went to Oak Hill Academy, all in high school.
Yeah, he was in the transfer portal before anybody else, brother.
Yeah, dude. Stephen Blake invented the transfer
portal. Yeah.
Okay.
That was him.
Right.
We should call it the Stephen Blake transfer portal. What
I remember it because he was playing in Killian, playing, whatever, the ninth.
And living, and I think living in Key West, right? Wasn't he taking a plane?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And Schaefer was the guy over at Killian, right? Was it Schaefer? No, not Schaefer. It was the guy who was supposed to take over for Schaefer that Shaky beat him out. Now I'm forgetting his name now. That's what it was. Schaefer was the Miami High coach. Correct. And then he had those 2 assistants, Shaky and then the other gentleman. And the other gentleman went to Killian. And, dude, he was so pissed. I'm forgetting his name now. He's a hell of a coach. Yep. He was so pissed that Blake went to Miami Lakes to play with Corciani. Yep. No. It was after Corciani, right? It was just after the Corciani group.
It was after Corciani, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Corciani
after
was in the mid to late 80s, yeah.
Yeah. It was after Corciani and Munoz and Rudy Glass.
Now I can't remember his name, and you're killing me. I gotta figure this out. I gotta figure out the old
Kaufman, baby.
Coach Kaufman. Yeah.
How about that, huh?
Yeah. Look at the memory. Look at the memory. You got it. You got it.
If I could tell you Rudy Bird playing with Corciani and Munoz at Miami Lakes,
you could definitely. Yeah, and you know what's terrible is that Kaufman all these years still because he's a huge Canes fan, right? Oh, yeah. And he still messages me, and I just remember him as K, and I couldn't remember the last name. And Coach K is what I used to call.
Yeah. Hell of a coach, bro. Hell of a coach.
Right.
And let me tell you, he never let that go that Shaky got the gig over him.
Absolutely. All these years.
Never let it go, dude. Never let it go. But Blake invented the transfer portal from back in the day, dude. That's just some crazy stuff. But yeah, Larrañaga's absolutely amazing. He really is. He's just
and they endured a lot of crap, man. The Adidas thing killed them for a while with recruiting, and now they're finally getting back together and winning games. Although Saturday we'll find out for real how good they are because they got number 2 Duke on the road, and that'll be a hell of a game for them. Even if they don't win, as long as they show up and play well, I think that'll be an encouraging sign.
Yeah, no doubt. They got 4 guys that can play, so I think they got a shot in that game to give them a nice run. That should be a fun game to watch. What are you working on The Athletic now, owned by the New York Times?
Yeah, we're a subsidiary is what I understand. That's we still have our own editors. We're not being edited by the New York Times. We're operating on our own, still just owned by the New York Times. That should be finalized, I think, in the next few months. But I'm working on well, first of all, I spoke to Coach Mirabal, so I'll be doing something with him on a story. I think this weekend we're gonna have a couple of recruiting announcements. I just put up a story this morning, the Sunshine State rankings, ranking UCF number 1 in the state, Miami number 2, and going, kind of looking ahead to the next season for all of those teams. So yeah, I mean, there'll be plenty to start reading. I just got cranked back up this week with work and making phone calls and working on stuff. So there'll be content coming in The Athletic again after my little Christmas break.
And you never know, you might see a little bit more Manny here. I don't know.
You might. We might see it.
Things might develop here. We expand. So you never know.
I like that. Yeah.
Just because others don't want to grow with us, they ain't gonna stop us from growing. That's for damn sure. No. Manny, much love, my brother. I appreciate you as always. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Make sure you subscribe to The Athletic because it's not just Manny. It's just a slew of terrific reporters locally and nationally and even internationally covering everything in sports. So subscribe. It's always a great deal there. I appreciate you, my brother. We'll catch up next week.
Thanks for having me on, brother. Talk to you next week.
You got it. There you go. The great Manny Navarro, baby, from The Athletic.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.